I want to welcome all of you. Um, my name is Stefan. If you don't know me yet, then I'm a guide both in the Netherlands and in Belgium. Um, my city where I'm doing the most tours is Amsterdam because I'm living also over there. But today I'm going a little back in history, back in my own history, because between my fifth and my 19th, so about 14 years of my life, was in the place where I am right now, in the beautiful city where a lot of people know it only from the cheese, but it's also a beautiful city because I am in the city of how we say that Gouda. Uh, in other countries, in Germany, they're saying Gouda, but it's Gouda, Gouda, or even sometimes Gouda. So beautiful city with at this moment about 75,000 inhabitants. So it is a smaller city in comparison. Amsterdam has more than 12 keer as much. So it is a tiny city and there are some beautiful orange things behind me. This means that they're collecting plastic over there. That's where all the plastic waste. Orange is plastic waste. So and people that are just joining, welcome. I'm gonna say it several times more. Welcome in Gouda. And let me change the screen. It is a beautiful day. We have over here the Tower of Pisa, no, of Gouda. It's also a little tilted. And what we can see at the left side, we can see the moon. It's a half moon. The last days we could even see, I think it was Venus next to it. Maybe it's a little, when it's a little darker, we can see it again. But I'm gonna take you today through this beautiful little town where we are, this beautiful medieval town. And I wanted to start here at this tower because this tower is for most of the voyagers that are over here today, because this tower over here is called, it is in the Vrouwesteeg, and the tower itself is called the Vrouwetoren, the Vrouwetower. The Vrouwetoren, and that means the Tower of the Lady, or the Tower of the Ladies. And this one uh, was, by the way, was burned, not buried, burned several times. And this is the third version already of this place. And we can see that over here just above, that it was renewed in 1754. So, and this was originally part, it was not only a tower, it was originally part of a little chapel. The chapel is not there anymore. Um, oh yeah, we can also look at me. You can see me in the corner again. Uh, long live the beautiful reflection. So yeah, and what you have is why was it given this name? Uh, because it was named after, and you have that a lot in the Netherlands, after our beloved lady. Our beloved lady. So we have a lot of, we really have a lot of, a lot of churches in the Netherlands and Belgium that are called Our Beloved Lady Church, Cathedral, Chapel, and everything. So welcome, Victoria. I'm just gonna get you through some tiny little houses over here, and just to give you an idea, they're really cute houses. A lot of these houses that we see over here, by the way, were from the 19th century. Later renovated and originally made for like people that didn't have that much money. So, and of course, we are in the Netherlands. We are in the city of Gouda, the city of the cheese. So also the city where they're doing a lot with the milk of the cows. And I'm now going through this tiny little street. So where the workers used to live, and nowadays they are quite cute little houses. And Alice is asking, was there a lot of destruction after in World War II? No, there was not so much in the city center of Gouda. Basically, what was bombed over here was the was the station, the central station. There was an old station, and it's not there anymore. And you see also in Gouda that a lot of these houses have these little signs. That means a memorial with the 6 stars. So, and look at this. We have someone who wants to be. There are cats everywhere over here. Hello. Okay, I just gonna walk a little further, and of course, I said it already. The town of the cheese, the town of the milk, also. So you still see these kind of cans everywhere. In this case, with the names of the people, Remco, Tamaro, Tigo, and Daan are living over here. So they have their names. Okay. And what you see in Gouda, we are now in the city center. We are in the city center, and the city center is partly from the 16th and 17th and 18th century. And for example, over here we have a tiny, beautiful courtyard with a nice gate, that's now in use by some of the houses over here, and they started a foundation over here. So it was from one of the notaries, by the way, in Gouda, and he started a foundation and a place for people that had less money. So that is and Shoshana, Shoshana is asking the 6 stars. Where are they coming from? The 6 stars, they are coming from the coat of arms of the city of Gouda. And I can show you that coat of arms. Wait, let me have one moment. Over here, I'm now going to show you in the chat. You can see the coat of arms, and under there is some Latin. Per aspera ad astra. And I don't know if some of you know what that means. Does one of you know what per aspera ad astra means? So, because it is something, by the way, that is not only to the stars at the end. Rona, you are warm. You are warm. Ad astra is to the stars. That is true. That is true. Only the first part, to infinity and beyond. Yeah, something like that. Almost. Peter, I don't know if you Googled it or did you know this, but it is true hardships to the stars. True hardship to the stars, and it's saying something about the past of the city, of Gouda. So it wasn't an easy time. The city of Gouda had several plagues, for example, several city fires, but it is still over there. So it is not after that movie of that astronaut and the cowboy. Said I. Google is your friend. Yeah, Google is your friend. So, to be honest, I knew Per Aspera ad Astra, because in the city of Gouda you have a lot of like, for example, the tennis club is called Ad Astra. So from a young age already, I sort of learned what it meant. I forgot. So when I was doing my first tour for Hegel in Gouda, I think it was maybe 1.5 years ago or something like that. And I had to think, what did that mean? I forgot. So look how beautiful this little canal with these houses. And of course, I'm doing normally more often tours in Amsterdam. And then you also have canals, you also have water. And most of the canals in Amsterdam, or the houses in Amsterdam, are a lot higher than the ones that we see over here in Gouda. And the reason is that there was over here a lot more space and the ground prices were not so high. So, it is beautiful, isn't it? With the, let me go here at the side. Sorry. Here with a little bench. So it is a beautiful view. We are, by the way, this is the main shopping street in Gouda. And the main shopping street is almost empty right now. And that is because it is just a Tuesday, and most of the shops over here are closing at 5. So in Amsterdam, that's a little different, but here they're still closing at 5. So after 5, almost everyone is gone. They're going home to have dinner. So it is now 5:40. Traditionally in the Netherlands, it is dinner time at 6. So, and then of course, it is the city of the cheeses. So what you see everywhere in Gouda, that they have these beautiful statues from a lady that's holding a cheese in her hand. So in her left hand, it's a little hard to see with this version, by the way, but she has a cheese in her hand, like coming from the market, or maybe someone who. And we will see the bench. Yeah, there were some people taking pictures there, so that's why I was. That ugly truck there at the end is blocking the view, but now it's getting better. I supposed to eat the cheese. Yeah, you can maybe imagine that if you are born and no, not born, if you're raised in the city of Gouda, that you have been eating a lot of cheese. So, and that is the same for me. So, from a very young age, and still it is, by the way, the typical Dutch breakfast, and by the way, also the Dutch lunch is just bread and cheese. And look how beautiful the reflection is right now. Okay, let's go. I want to show you a little more. So we're going to walk here over the canal, one of the canals, and I also have to tell you that we are now here. Don't say that, Peter. Uh, no, we are now over here in the city of Gouda, and this is also one of the lowest cities in the Netherlands. So at this moment where I'm walking, this is about 3.5 meters. So what is that? That's about 10, 11 feet under sea level. 10, 11 feet under sea level. So one of the lowest places, because this, and that's the city of Gouda is built on clay. And when they started building it around 1200, 1300, it was at sea level, but since that time it has been going down bit by bit. Bit by bit, it has been going down, and at this moment, 3.5 meters, and every year it depends a little on the area, but some parts of the city are going down about a centimeter per year. Unbelievable. So it's between 5 millimeters and a centimeter. And you can maybe, thank you, Sandy. You can maybe also imagine that if you are living on this street, that is uh, it is quite important that you know how to park your car. I mean, parking your car next to the water over here. I think you were seeing that already. I can just go back a little. We are with the cars immediately at water level. So it is just next to it. We're now just above the water. So this is 3.5 meters under sea level where we are right now. And how deep is the water? That's the thing. Most of the water here is not very deep. So it's about 1.5 meters deep. So, and still a lot of the clay. And then everywhere in the city, it is still 16th century, but everywhere in the city, you still have these beautiful chapels. This is still in use as a church. You can see the coat of arms of Gouda. I don't know, someone got one of the stars. So I don't know how many are over here in the water. But what I want to tell you about this building over here, this was one of the synagogues that was in Gouda. Gouda was a quite open and liberal city, and this used to be a synagogue. But sadly enough, as with most cities most cities in the Netherlands, most of the Jews did not survive the Holocaust in the city of Gouda, it was even 90% of the population who did not survive. And so they decided after World War II to start using it for other purposes. So now it's a church building. So, and Irene, I was telling before the meaning per aspera ad astra, through hardship to the stars. So saying something about the past of Gouda, and that is because the city of Gouda has been going through a lot of disasters. Do you hear, by the way, the beautiful church bells chiming? So, and yeah, we're all amazing parallel parkers. That's one of the important things if you're getting your driver's license over here, that you can parallel park. So, and yeah, the homes are beautiful, but related to what I was saying about the Jewish area over here. Over here, we have the same stones that I've been showing you the last days in Amsterdam. So here the names of 4 Jewish people who used to live in exactly the house where I'm standing right now. And all these 4 people did not survive. So there's so much history over here that is unbelievable. It's very sad, very sad. And I want to tell you 2 different things, because over here there's also, it's not only that I want to show you a little or tell you a little about the history of Gouda, but it's also my own history. Here at the other side you see this building, and there is you see step-by-step dance events. Step-by-step dance events. That was the dancing school where Stefan was going to when he was 16, 17 years old. So he was doing ballroom dancing. Can you believe it? I cannot believe it anymore that I did that at that time. But I loved it. I loved it mainly because there were so many girls over there. And there were always more girls than men that wanted to dance. So I could dance more often than the lessons that I paid for. So I was going 3-4 times per week sometimes to do the waltz, the cha-cha-cha, the jive. So it was not only ballroom, also a little more a Latin American dance. So here, by the way, at the other side, we see there are different styles. A more Baroque style building from one of the richest people that lived in the city of Gouda, and this is the Rococo style. So, and can I still do some dance? It is really a long time ago. I said already I was 17 years old, and after I started studying, I stopped with it, moved to another city. So I didn't do it since that time anymore. So, but I think the basics of some of these dances I still know. Okay, Gouda is one of these cities in the Netherlands next to the water. Started, and someone was asking that already, from where's the name Gouda coming from? The name Gouda is coming from the river. The name Gouda is coming from the river over here that is called the Gouwe. The Gouwe. And the water of the Gouwe is getting into another river named the IJssel. The Hollandse IJssel is the second river. And Gouda is built on the confluence of these 2. And of course, we also have to protect ourselves against the water. And we're doing that with these type of water logs. And the interesting thing is, this one is still one of the water logs. The little green building, Debbie, was related to that. Originally, the person who was in charge of the log was opening and closing for the ships that wanted to go inside. And so he was waiting there. And you can still see it is done by hand. So I can open and close. Oh, it's even still working. maybe don't do that. Because otherwise, tomorrow you will see in the news that uh, the city of Gouda was now underwater because someone on a Hago tour opened or closed the lock. Maybe don't do that. Let me see, where did I? Oh yeah, there were all kind of beautiful, beautiful houses, and you can imagine that at this kind of canals, like the ones over here, that was the area where most of the richer people used to live. So, for example, over here we can see a house that is called het zwarte paard. That means the black horse. The black horse. So, and in Gouda, it was the same as in other Dutch cities in the 16th and 17th century. The majority of the population could not read or write, so they were just remembering. They were remembering where they were living and telling to other people, "I'm living in the house with the black horse, with the zwarte paard," and then people knew, like, oh, then we have to go over there. And John and Colette, finally in Gouda. Welcome. We just will walk a little. But it is quite beautiful over here. And yeah, paard is the Old Dutch with a T, is the Old Dutch word for horse. Yeah. So, and talking about horses, I'm waiting for the car now at the side. Talking about horses, if you see in the Netherlands, places like what we see over here, these high doors. These high doors are just part of a beautiful building now. Thank you, John and Colette. Well, if you see doors like this, these are the doors that used to be for the horses or for the carriages. So, of course, there was a time that we didn't have cars yet. So then you were having these high doors for your carriage, to park your carriage inside, if you had enough money, of course. Okay, I'm just going on. It is so beautiful. And then, of course, over here, we have the next little church. So, and nowadays almost nobody has a garage. No, no, not anymore. So we have some little side streets. It's quite beautiful over here. You have to be careful because there is not a lot of traffic, but it is rush hour. So, and I want to take you. We're already 20 minutes in the tour. So, but I want to take you to some of the other highlights of the city of Gouda. But look, I also wanted to show you over here this view, and we're so lucky with this weather today. And with the, okay, I'm just gonna try to get a better reflection with a Adam shot or a vertical shot, so you can take the best postcards, the money shots exactly. Only in Amsterdam, I can show you the $1 million shot, but Monet was not over here. Some of you maybe do know where I'm talking about. And I can also show you, I want to tell you something else interesting. So a lot of these people had beautiful houses, but look at the house over here. That's called the White House, by the way. The side is white, but the front part, you can see that they built a little higher than the rest. So that it was just for optical reasons. For optical reasons, they had an extra level, but that extra level in the house was not very practical. So later on, they also built the back part, but originally it was just a two-level house with an extra level, just as if your house was a little bigger. And why were they doing that? No, not for the servants. It was just to show how rich they were. And for example, you can maybe imagine that to the neighbors had that house that's maybe even more beautiful, but it's not as big. And the neighbors, yeah, they have also a white house, a more beautiful one, but not three layers, not three levels. So, and what did it say on the side of the house? Yeah, there's a Dutch poem. So I'm not. It's a little too much work to translate that completely. And oh wait! I have a beautiful view here at the side. So look at this. We can see already where we're going through. I'm gonna take you later. At the end, you see a beautiful Gothical building. That is the central marketplace. That is where we are heading to. Have to be a little careful because there is some traffic. And I know rush hour over here is nothing compared to other cities. So it is a calm town, only 75,000 people in the city center where we are right now. It's even a lot less, of course. So you can see over here that, thank you, Jenny, that a lot of the cars are still parked at the side of the canal. But also in Gouda, they have plans to remove the cars from the canals and to make it completely for people on bicycles and walking, and maybe a more narrow road still for the cars, but not to park your cars there anymore. So, oh, look at this. This is interesting. If you have some beautiful Delft blue plate, and in case it is broken, then you can still make some beautiful piece of art from it. So, just for inspiration. Yeah, and what they're doing, Laurie, that's a good question. Where to go with your cars, what they're doing uh, in Gouda, but also, for example, in Amsterdam, they're doing the same, is they are making parking garages at the borders of the city where you can park your car. Um, and so you have to walk a little to get your car. So, look at this. Look how beautiful. This church over here, this is called the Gouwenkerk. Now beautiful in the light. Uh, this is um, the 16th century beautiful church. So Catholic church built in the time of the Reformation. That's a whole other story. I will do that a little later or in another tour. Otherwise, I have too much information to tell you because this for today. Because I'm not coming too many times in Gouda anymore. I just want to show you some of the highlights of the city. So, and by the way, there's everywhere. There are beautiful things. But then a little further, we have this beautiful gate here at the side, and then we can see Anno 1884. This is uh, this is a, a house for um, for kids who lost their parents, uh, built by some rich Catholic people here in the city. An orphanage. Thank you. Thank you. Sometimes I cannot come up the right word, but this is a beautiful tiny orphanage, of course, next to the church, so the kids could easily go just to the church there at the side. So, and how far are we from Amsterdam? I took the train today, no car, I took the train today, and it was 45 minutes. So it's not so far away. By car, I think it's 35. Whoa, there's coming some. Woo. Oh, do you hear that sound? That's not what I'm hearing a lot. You're hearing this the last days? Jets, exactly, jets coming over. And that is mainly because we have still in the Netherlands one of the biggest ports, the port of Rotterdam, and a lot of the military stuff that is now brought to Ukraine is also going over the Netherlands. So they're saying that you can even sometimes, and it's of course not only Ukraine, but also to protect Poland and the eastern borders a little more. So a lot of the jets are brought in the last weeks already over there. It's lovely, isn't it? Okay, it's calm again. Okay, I just wanted to listen to the bells, but it's taking a little longer sometimes. It's because it's 6 p.m. right now. And David was right. We're looking here at the fish markets on both sides, by the way. So also on the right side and the left side, there were two sides where they were originally, I'm now talking about 16th, 17th century. So the fish was coming over the water. They were not fishing here in the water. It was coming over the water with boats, and then they were selling it immediately on the quay here in the fish market. So, and Sarah is asking, is the factory of the cheeses in the city? Yeah, of course. That is always a question of people. They're saying like, okay, where are they making the cheese? Yeah, and the thing is, the real Gouda cheese is not made in factories. I have to correct you. Sarah. Cheese is not made in a factory. Real Gouda cheese is coming from the farms, from the cheese farms. And these cheese farms, we are now in a city. We are in a city. So you can imagine there are no farms over here. So what we call Gouda cheese is basically the cheese that is brought from the cheese farms to the city of Gouda. So basically, the cheese from the area around the city. And why was it brought to the city of Gouda? Because over here, people were trading. People were trading the cheeses. So, and we're now walking. We're very nearby. So it was a good question to ask this. We're now very nearby the market that is still one time per week in spring and summer season, by the way, used as the cheese market. And that is the central market in Gouda. Thank you, Charlotte. And we're now walking there with look how beautiful the light is. On the St. John's uh, church here at the side. One of the older cafes over here, already from 1560. So if I'm walking in Amsterdam, I'm saying 17th century is old. Here we have a lot of 16th century buildings. And we have this little gnome laying over here. I think he was drinking a little too much. And I assume that is related to the fact that Gouda used to be not only a place where they were making the cheeses, but also one of the biggest places in Europe where they were brewing the beers. So it was a beer city until the 17th century. We were even brewing the beer for half of Germany. Imagine that. He's waiting for the cheese. Now I think for some more beers. So, okay, we're now on the central market square of Gouda. Yeah, I need to armless, not harmless. Yeah, I had to read it again. Now we are on the central marketplace of Gouda over here. With in the middle, we see here on the side the flag of Gouda, red, white, red. So it's not Austria, it's also the flag of Gouda. In the 60s, by the way, I didn't bring a picture of this, but in the 60s, they were using these marketplace, 50s and 60s, to park your car. Good enough. In the 90s, they decided we don't want cars here on the square anymore. Yeah, only sometimes people have to bring stuff, but they made it car free. And now we have this beautiful, and let me do another vertical shot. Let's look how beautiful this is. The beautiful city hall of Gouda from the 15th century. Gothic city hall with an entrance, by the way, that's more a Renaissance style. So there are several styles, architectural. But this is quite beautiful here on the side. And some of you, I'm just going to the normal view again. Some of you have maybe gone with me, have maybe joined me in the last weeks to Belgium. And in Belgium, there are a lot of beautiful cities like Bruges, like Ghent, also like Brussels and Antwerp. And over there all the city halls in Belgium are extremely beautiful. So also gothical. And the interesting thing is that Gouda in the 16th century, sorry, in the 15th century, was inspired by some of the city's halls, mainly the one in Mechelen, by the way, a city that's just in between Antwerp and Brussels. And they were asking an architect from over there to design their new city hall. This beautiful building that we have over here, standing in the middle. And look how beautiful it is in the evening sun. We're really lucky with this. Um, so, and his architect said, like, okay, I can do that for you. Of course, that's not a problem. But I wanna use the material where I like to work the most with, and that is stones. The stones that we see, that's also coming from Belgium, from the Ardennes. So the white stones, very soft stone, by the way. Um, but it has a beautiful, there's some very loud people over here. A little drunk, I think. So, look here at the side. We see, uh, yeah, there's a lot of mythology, a lot of stories also related to the history of Gouda. And one of the interesting things is not only the windows are beautiful with these shutters in the same colors of Gouda, the red and the white, you can see that everywhere. But the city hall was built here on its own in the middle. And that is that is quite unique. If you go to other Dutch cities, you have beautiful city halls, sometimes even the same Gothic style, but never just in the middle without other buildings around. And I'm just wondering, does one of you know, why do you think they were building the city hall just in the middle, and why were there not other buildings nearby? And it's related again to the six stars, by the way. Oh, it should not be blurry because my uh, connection is perfect at the moment. And Jonathan and Zina, you're both right. Fires, 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 fires. The city of Gouda had a lot of big fires. So, mainly in the 14th and 15th century. So there was an old city hall, and it was completely burned down at one of these big city fires. So they decided to rebuild it in the 16th century. In the 15th century, they decided to rebuild it, but they didn't want to get it into a fire again. So originally, even there was um, there was some water around it, even to protect it better and just to make sure that it would not burn down again. Very interesting because that is not what you have in other cities. And then at the back part, you have this, and it's beautiful. I know, but I have so much things to tell you. I'm just trying to cut down my stories a little because Uh, there's more that I wanna tell you, but you see there at the end of the city hall, there is a little platform, or some still, how do you call it, steps, platform? I don't know what is the best. The little part over here, a little platform that is a little newer. It's a little a balcony. Yeah, it can also be a balcony. Why I'm saying platform, because it was originally not used as a balcony. What we see over there at the back of the city hall, there is now a door. That door is only there since the 20th century. That was because one of our queens wanted to visit Gouda, and she wanted to wave at the people that were waving at her at the Central Market Square. So built they built a door over there. But originally there was no door; there were only windows, because this podium or stage or platform was uh, was originally used. You can maybe imagine that, where they were showing the prisoners before they were hanging them. So it's beautiful, isn't it? That was the back part of the city hall. Nice, yeah, really nice. So only when the queen came here, 1924, if I'm precise, they decided, okay, let's make a door, then we can, then we can, then she can wave from there. But there's also the front part. We were there already before, so that is the main entrance into the city center. Also built later, about 150 years after they designed it. So, but here we have the main entrance. And nowadays, if you are having a marriage in Gouda, then a lot of people are marrying, of course, inside the city hall. And then one little last thing, and then I want to show you some other parts of the city. It's always when you see these kind of buildings, there is so much to see. There's so many little little details that you can see. For example, over here on the side, there's some clocks over there. They're playing, I think, in 30 minutes from now, so we just missed that. It's a strange timing. And over here, there's also a place where people from the government, like the mayors in their times, could stand over there and say things to the people. So they had their own little platform. So that's just one of these little details that you can see in this building. And then another little detail that I love really, that they still have over here, are these rings. These rings. Where do you think they had these rings here at the site? Next to, by the way, the prison that we had under the city hall, and exactly, Maureen, to tie your horse. So there are several locations here to park your horse. So just the rope was going through here for your horse, but of course a horse also wants to have some drinks sometimes. So they had over here a place with water for the horses. So I think maybe if I was coming here with my horse, I had to knock over here at this place. You can also see, by the way, that it is not very high, so the people are also a little less tall than her. Now they just have to knock on the door and then ask, "Can you bring some water? Can you open it because my horses are a little thirsty?" Okay, last part that I want to show you, because it is magical to walk around here, is is the area around the church that we see over there. Church that was also burned down several times. The St. John or the Sint-Janskerk, the church in the Netherlands with the tallest ship. The ship is 123 meters long. 123 meters, that is, I think, in feet about more than 300. So, okay, I'm just going inside. The only thing is I have to be careful sometimes for people on bicycles. That is the only one. And then we have this tiny little street, like over here, just going to the church. One of the biggest churches, it's still the biggest church, or the tallest ship of the church in the Netherlands. And also it has beautiful windows. We're now too late, by the way, to see that. And what you have over here on the side of the church, there are some houses that are literally built against the side walls of the church, not very deep, and that was for all the people that were working in the churches. So, okay, but I want to go a little to the other side. Thank you, Mitzi. And look how beautiful it is. Very big door. This time, by the way, not for horses. It was just to impress people. Oh, and I'm smelling, by the way. I'm smelling over here the cheese. So I don't know. Somewhere they're making cheese, I think. And the shops are closed already. Yes. The traveling passion. Talking about the passion, by the way, traveling. Thank you for the tip. Gouda also in the last years had several times was organizing, and there are several Dutch cities are doing that, the Passion of the Christ. So that was here in Gouda on the central market square. But thank you, Robin. I just want to take you a little here on the side of the church. What used to be, by the way, some of the graveyards were over here. And there's also a little canal. And yes, all the shops. Oh, that were the bells from over there. I'm too late. I just wanted to do it calm, but I never know how many times. So, and then here again, everywhere in the city of Gouda, there's water. You can see over here that it is quite dirty in the little canal over here. That's also something connected to the city of Gouda. Not only the pestilence, also several other diseases were going here through the city. So it was a quite dirty city. Hence the reason why they had so many breweries over here in Gouda for a long time, because that was um, healthier, a lot healthier than the water out of the canals. And you can see over there is already the next church. So city full of churches. But it's so calm over here. I love it. It's really medieval times over here. So, what I also want to show you is this tiny little house. And that is also, where's the water coming from? Yeah, it's originally all coming the from the river, from the river Gouwe. And by the way, the river Gouwe is coming. The Dutch word Gouda is coming from Gouwe, and Gouwe means gold. It's coming from the golden color of the water at the end of the day. I mean, we've seen that a little earlier, so that's where the name Gouda and Gouwe are coming from. But over here, we have a beautiful gate, and this gate originally was not on this location; it was another location, but it's a quite beautiful one from 1609. As you can see, they're more than 400 years old. And what we see, maybe some of you do recognize this. I'm just doing a little test. We see over here in the middle, we see several men sitting on a table. There's a lot of food on the table, and at the left side there is. Let's zoom in a little. At the left side, you see a man. You see a man sitting. He has a beautiful clothes. He's looking a little strange, and then some other men, they're looking at the side, and at the side, you see several dogs that are licking the legs of someone who is begging. Someone who is begging. So, and it is not the Last Supper that we are seeing over here. And KM, you are right. What we're seeing over here is exactly, Jenny, not enough people. It didn't fit all these people. No, what we see over here at the left, that is a rich man. And at the right side, we see Lazarus. And Lazarus, who was the beggar Lazarus, who was asking for the rich man for some food while they were eating over there. But of course, he didn't get anything. And if we're then going to the top, we see Lazarus again while he's sitting on the lap of Abraham. So I think a beautiful story. I'm not going to do this whole story, but this was used as the gate to the leper's house. The gate to the leper's house, because Lazarus became, because of the dogs who were licking his wounds on his legs in the 15th and 16th century, they were thinking like, okay, Lazarus should have had, most probably he was a leper. So, and there were the lepers already in the time that was a disease over here. They were bringing them outside thank you, Peter, for the whole story. So there's so much to tell and so much to show. Um, no, but this was the gate to the leper's house that was just outside of Gouda. And later on, they placed it over here. And why over here? Because at the back part, where we have a little church, it's by the way not a church, it's a chapel and an old monastery. And nowadays, the main um, museum of Gouda is now inside these buildings, and that's why they placed the little leper's gate back here in the 1960s, by the way. But look how beautiful and calm and relaxed it is all over here. And then at the side is almost a little with these little waterways. I mean, I was in Bruges not so long ago, but it is not that different over here, is it? And in Bruges, you have millions of people that are always wanting to see the same, and we're now the only ones over here in the city of Gouda. Thank you, Pam. Thank you, Kelly. Oh, it's wonderful over here. Okay, I'm just gonna take you to the end of this huge church over here. So, the St. Jans Church, quite famous also because of the stained glass windows, one of the most beautiful collections of stained glass. But that is inside. And Joyce, the city of Gouda, yeah, Gouda. That's how we pronounce it. And then again, thank you, Polly. And Wendy, how long I still have daylight? Not so long anymore. I think maybe 15 minutes. So on purpose, I started this tour at this time. Well, we have some coots over there that are making a lot of sound. Now, and this is normally, if there's a sunset, this is the most beautiful part of the day. And that's why I wanted to take you over here. And see here at the side, another little chapel and a beautiful house, most probably from a trader, or at least someone who was very rich. I don't know it from every little house. And oh wait, I don't know what this is over here. I've never seen it opened before. But over here we have again the um, coat of arms of the city of Gouda, and this is the coat of arms in this little gate. When I was living here, this was not um, a cafe and a bar yet. Now it is. Nowadays it is. But this is the gate to the big orphanage. So we were seeing before a small orphanage, and now this is the big orphanage that was starting around 1400. And look how beautiful this is. This is now, by the way, a hotel and a restaurant. And Polly, I've not seen the northern lights. I've not seen the northern lights in the last days. So I just have to go a little more up north. I'm just a little too much south. But look how beautiful this is. And yes, it is. I assume it's a great place to stay. But again, when I was living in Gouda, and that's already a long time ago now, this place was not a hotel yet. So that's something from more recent times. And Sue, the significance of the shutters, that I didn't even talk about the significance, but they were, nowadays it is more, look how beautiful the houses are because we're not closing them anymore. But originally they were closing them in the nighttime and also in winter time. So it was protecting the windows a little more, keep it warm. So that was basically where the shutters were for. Some of the places didn't even have glass. They only had shutters. Oh, this is nice, isn't it? Some jazz. Okay, it's beautiful, isn't it? And then in this little street, I mean, everything over here is beautiful. It's almost impossible to think of it. And oh, yeah, there's one interesting thing is that last year, and it was a little strange year, but Gouda was celebrating that it was got 750 years ago city rights. So there were big celebrations, although we were just coming back from COVID, of course. So we're just coming back from COVID. So the celebrations were a lot less big than they were before. But what they did, for example, over here, they placed these posters here on the side. This is an a little gives an idea how Gouda used to look around 1150. 1150, you just see some wooden parts. There's not a lot more yet. So there's just some farmland, all the clay. The first people started living over here. And then in the middle part, they were building what later became a castle. And I think, oh, here we see it. About 200 years later, a tiny town was there. We see in the middle the first version of the church that, as said before, has been burned down several times. We see the canals, and also the city was protected by city walls, by gates, by everything. All these city walls, by the way, are removed in the 19th century because they were not necessary anymore. But you can also see like the little water. It's a beautiful artist impression, by the way, from and normally you have these impressions from how it will be in 5 to 10 years from now, but this is the other way. This is a little back. Okay, and here, and then it's the last one. Here you see around 1450, how they were on the central market hall building the city hall that we were just seeing. So you can see at that moment there was still a lot of green around. There were even farming still next to it. So, and yeah, an artist impression of the past, isn't it nice? And you see at the back one of the things that we also don't have anymore. That used to be the castle of Gouda that was protecting the city, or the first part of the city. Okay, I'm now going. I just want to show you one last little part, and then I have to end this tour because I'm already walking around for, what is it, 58 minutes. Oh no, but it's magic to see this and to be back in the city where I was growing up, where I was just thinking like, yeah, this is how all the places in the world are looking like. And now I'm realizing that I grew up in this medieval town. Quite beautiful. And now also look at this for some more postcards. And that is the nice thing of winter time, that we can see through the leaves. Yes, it was very nice to grow up here, although when I showed you that at the start, I was growing up in the suburbs of Gouda, although it's not a very big city, so I had to go on the bike to the city center. It was about 15 minutes, I think, so not very far. And yeah, it looks so quiet. It's not only looking so quiet, it is very quiet at this moment. Okay, I'm just gonna show you one of the other main canals that used to be the harbor, by the way. Um, the harbor, the main canal to come into the city of Gouda. And we see over here that the water level is a little lower. So this part of Gouda is also higher than the part where I was before. And now, Peter, thank you for saying that. I see a beautiful bench over there. I think it is time for something other typical Dutch. I've been talking um about the cheese. A lot about the cheese I've been talking. But of course, Gouda is not only the city of the cheese, it is also the city of one of the most famous Dutch cookies. So, another Chinese sandwich, no. No, that's. Let me see. I have somewhere over here in my bag. Just give me a moment. I have over here, and sorry, I was already too late to get a fresh one because you can get fresh ones over here. But I got een stroopwafel, the authentic Dutch stroopwafels. But I have to say that the authentic ones are the ones that are coming from the city of Gouda, and they are invented over here. Wait, just gonna. This is. You see a lot of pictures on Instagram with like a hand with yeah, this is the Dutch stroopwafel. Look how beautiful it is. Um, no, but this is something typical from Gouda. So we don't only have the round cheese, we also have the round stroop or syrup waffles. So, and this is invented somewhere in the 18th century. Somewhere in the 18th century. And just going to show you my face for this last story before I'm really going to end. Um, but the interesting thing is that in the 18th century, there were a lot of bakers in the city of Gouda. And also in the 18th century, it was getting it was not going very well in the city of Gouda. It was getting more and more a poor city. So there were a lot of people with not a lot of money, and one of the bakers here in the city, every day at the end of the day, he was of course baking bread, and then at the end of the day, he would love to. And Jenny, that's a good idea. No, at the end of the day, he always had some leftovers of the dough. Oh, look at this. This one is also with me. He was a little asleep. No, at the end of the day, they had some leftovers. This is Oscar, by the way, of the dough, And this baker was thinking, okay, the leftovers of the dough. If I am using the leftovers for bread the next day, then people will not buy my bread anymore because you taste immediately that it is old dough. And there were just like little pieces, little snips, or how do you call it, little pieces that were the leftovers. So he thought, I have to find something else. And what he then thought about is, okay, how can I sell these leftovers of the dough? And what he did is he started placing and making all these little pieces of dough together, baking it, and then all these baking it and then placing a lot of syrup here in the middle. And you can see here in the middle there's a lot of syrup. And the interesting thing is, if you're baking dough again, and if you're placing syrup in the middle, then you will not taste anymore that it's made from old pieces of the dough. So that is originally where it was coming from. Just leftover food, that the baker wanted to recycle. He started with this, and soon after that, this became the most famous cookie over here. And now we are saying it's even Dutch. Yeah, scraps, crumbs, leftovers, how you call it, doesn't really matter. But in the end, that's where the stroopwafel, that's how we're calling it, is coming from, with a lot of syrup in the middle. I am now eating it cold. Originally, you're eating it warm because that is the best. And how we are Dutch people are doing that, if you have them cold, like it's now winter time, I got them in the supermarket or in a shop. Then what you're doing is you have your cup of tea and you're placing it on top of the cup of your tea, and then the warmth of the tea will warm the waffle, and also of course the syrup inside will melt a little, and that's how we're eating it. So if you have some of these and if they're cold, you can warm it up on top of your cup, and it also has the perfect shape on top of your cup. That's it. And you can also put them in the toaster, of course. That's also. But I mean, we're doing it normally with a cup of tea. So the best combination. Okay, I want to thank you for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed to see the town of my youth.